It finishes 1-0 right now. Now we go to Stamford Bridge to see how things turn out. We've got to welcome in Frank Leboeuf as well. He had plenty to say to me ahead of the game today. I wonder what he's got to say about Chelsea's performance after the game.
Oh, you know what, Kay? I think I texted you that you're going to win 1-0, but you're going to lose 3-0 the second time. We'll see. But I want to congratulate the Boro players because they did what they had to do. They were fighting a lot. Michael Carrick prepared this team very well. But Chelsea, come on. I mean, you try to be contrastive about what you want to say, about that game, about, maybe being positive about something. But there is nothing that we can say. Let's say that if I were Thiago Silva or Disasi and I'm at the back, I don't know. I will go to the coach. I will say, Coach, when we have the ball, what can we do? Because we know that they're going to lose it and we're not going to score any goal because they're not creating anything. We don't have at front somebody who can do something different. In the middle of the park, we have nobody who can change something and outnumber the opponent. There is nothing I can see we can improve Chelsea playing that way. They have to change everything, but I think they have to change many players first and maybe see if they can do something, and it's not possible. So they're going to struggle again, and I said that many times, for years because of the way they build the team. There is nothing. Everything it's easy to read. It's predictable. You have nothing to surprise the opponent. Crazy.
But they do have the tie coming back to Stamford Bridge now to see it out against a team that are a tier below them.
Chelsea will probably go through, in all probabilities. Maybe not, but I would imagine so. But at least the tie is, at least Boro have something to take to London, tangible, which is great for them. But it's quite an achievement, this, from this football club. Continuously to spend as much as they have and be as bad as they are. It's quite a feat, that, actually. Man United and Chelsea are an amazing couple of clubs at the moment at outspending almost everybody to be absolutely crap. I mean, it is quite a feat. I think we should give them some sort of medal for that. I mean, Moises Caicedo, right, at Brighton looked like £100 million player, dollar, whatever currency you want, I don't care. He was a player. He was a right player at Brighton, he was. Arsenal wanted him. Liverpool wanted him. Chelsea got him. Should have went to Liverpool or Arsenal, not Chelsea. It's a different story. He's made the wrong move at this moment in time. No sign of that changing. Enzo Fernandez, great World Cup. Open the chequebook. We've seen what we've seen from Enzo Fernandez. £200 million and they can't dominate a game against Middlesbrough, particularly for the first 45 minutes. It's just a mess. 88 million, Mihailo Mudryk. Because Arsenal were looking at him. He can't cross the ball. He can run. I tell you what, he could probably beat 99.9% of the planet over 100 metres. But there's a little white round thing that rolls around that you got to, at some point, either put it in the back of the net or put a decent cross in. He can't do that. I mean, it's brilliant. It is utterly brilliant. But And for all those reasons, Middlesbrough, plucky old Middlesbrough, struggling away in the Championship, haven't got a bean to their name, really, when it comes to spending money these days.
Missing loads of players themselves.
Correct. And they've given themselves a great opportunity. That tells you all you need to know about... And this is not a one-off from Chelsea. Come on, we saw it for long periods of the Preston game at the weekend. We saw it against little old Luton at Kenilworth Road. They were 3 goals up, 3-1, hanging on at the end. Crystal Palace looking to sack Roy Hodgson under pressure at Stamford Bridge. Outplayed Chelsea. Outplayed them. So this is not something new. This is embarrassing. That'll probably be a turnaround. They can thank the lucky stars it's not 2025. Because in 2025, the Carabao Cup semi-finals are one leg. Right? They're changing it, and for the good. Chelsea can thank the lucky stars that it's not next year, and they have an opportunity to put right another disastrous 45 minutes.
But this just kind of leans into the conversation that we were having before the game, and Nedum was talking about Jules' criticism of Chelsea, not really sure what they're trying to do, and stylistically, no identity, but they get results. Against Preston, they got a result against Preston. And you know, while you celebrate that for what it is, while Chelsea may very well go back to Stamford Bridge and turn this around, and all of a sudden they're 90 minutes away from silverware, finals take care of themselves. You look at this performance, and it really leaves you scratching your head as to who Chelsea are, what they're trying to be, more to the point. Very light up front, a non-existent midfield, and a defence that's left overly exposed against lower league, mid-table lower league opposition at that. So for all the money that's spent, for all the suggested direction that Chelsea are aiming for, it's hard to identify.
Nedum Onuoha, pitch side at the Riverside Forest tonight. What to make of what we saw from Chelsea, Nedum?
To be honest, in that first half, obviously they got hit with that goal and they conceded 1 or 2 chances, but I look back and I saw the chances that Chelsea had, especially in Cole Palmer, and even though the performance wasn't great, you know, they still had the ability to create those chances and should have taken them. But then as the game wore on, especially in that second half, I think Middlesbrough, in fairness, they weren't, it's not that they were completely comfortable, but it seemed like Chelsea were running out of ideas as such. And even when they brought Brozier on and they had Mudryk on there, in some ways I was saying, like, when was the chance that they had from when they threw on their number 9? So I think it was just a case of them really struggling against, attacking against a low block. And I guess this is who they've been for the season. They're taking off players, bringing some on, trying to find some spark, but for their style of play, the tempo's not very high. They struggle to sort of break lines and be really dynamic, and as a consequence, teams can bed in against them. And you saw that today, because as time was passing, you thought, well, maybe Boro will make a mistake, because at times it felt as if that was going to be the only way that Chelsea would score in that second half, which unfortunately says a lot about their season so far.
What I would say about Cole Palmer, is that 2 of those chances were gifts from Middlesbrough. One from Housen and one from the goalkeeper. The shot, and the third one, which was a weak finish, that was actually a bit of good football, which was just before half-time. So the others were kind of handed to him on the plate, which is not his problem, but it's certainly not something that Chelsea created. Other than that, it's difficult to see. And I was looking at Chelsea cutting this Middlesbrough team open tonight with this. I'm going to see some football here. Middlesbrough are going to be chasing the ball around. They can't get close to anybody. Chelsea will be popping it around with pace, showing them who the boss is. And we never really saw any of that. And listen, Pochettino, he must be delighted he's got a no at the end of his name. And he's some sort of fancy manager that has been, I've been at PSG. Oh, Tottenham, that was great for a period before it all went wrong. Because I tell you what, if his name was little old Graham Potter, right, trust me, they would be absolutely dragging him through the coals right now. Now, they might be, I don't know, I presume not as much, because Graham Potter, right, this team is no better than it was last year, right? It's probably worse. And yet Graham Potter was absolutely lambasted because this job's too big for him. He can only manage Brighton. This job's too big, and they can't do this and they can't do that, and we need somebody else. And Pochettino comes in, and it's early, relatively early. What's changed? Not a lot. Got a fancier manager. He's worked with a few bigger players. Results are kind of the same. So, what does it need? Guess what it needs? They need to go and spend again. They do. Yeah. Because they've spent badly. And they need to go, and they're going to have to go and spend again, because what they have got is not going to be good enough.
Frank?
Yeah, I'll go back to the beginning of the discussion of the monologue, the big, nice monologue of Craig Burley. But what he said at first was very, very important about the fact that they created 2 chances because of Middlesbrough. And I want to go to Pochettino, and again, Craig mentioned it. I want to know what they do at training session, because for me, it seems to be that the only goal for them is to keep the ball and to not lose the ball without trying something maybe risky, a little bit of that. It's like you're going to be rewarded if you do 100 passes. So they did 600. They must be very happy. They did nothing with that. They don't know how to take on players. Apart Madueke today a little bit, but I go back to him at the end of my explanation. They don't know how to cross the ball. They don't know how to play 1-2s and pace up the game. And when they have some chances to go for it, they go back. Because it's like, oh, the coach told me to not lose the ball and to not risk anything. I don't know. Maybe it's that. Madueke, at one point, and I texted Shaka and Craig about that, he made a cross where we could see that there was no Chelsea player in a 16-yard box. But he made it. And I said, well, the last time I saw that, I was 14 years old in my village where you don't know what to do with the ball, then you cross it. And you don't care about it. The guy is a professional player. It means that he crosses by instinct. He doesn't know what he does. He doesn't inform himself about what he has to do. That's absolutely appalling. And it's not only Madueke. They're all the same. They don't know when to cross, how to cross it. It's amazing. Again, they need, it's a fit, as Craig said, a real fit.
Who's got more problems? This is, I know Man United won yesterday, but these are two big clubs here. Two big supposed managers. Yeah, United in the fourth round of the FA Cup. Who's got more? You would have said Eric Ten Hag's got more problems, like. Is this...
Who's got more problems of Ten Hag and Pochettino?
Yeah. But you would have said Ten Hag because it was all bundling and crashing around them, and then they get the odd result. But I don't know.
I think Chelsea's are spiralling worse. In that, and to your point, for Chelsea to fix this, they need to spend money. The issue is, if I'm managing a football club and I have a player that Chelsea want, I know I can just leak a story that Arsenal and Liverpool are interested, and I can bump my price up by 40 million. And then you were touching on this before the game, Craig. For all those players, for all the money that's spent, you will not recover if you decide to sell players at any point. You will not get, 80 million for Mudryk. You will not get your money back for Caicedo. So then you have to offload the money cheap. You end up picking up a percentage of their wages, and you find yourself in the same situation that Manchester United are. A lot of money invested in players that you simply do not know what to do with. And it just spirals to the point now we're talking about Manchester United unable to go into the transfer market, unable to match bids of the football clubs. Who would have thought we'd been having that conversation 10 years ago? And I think Chelsea are heading they aren't there yet, but it's a slippery slope.
Chelsea tried to this ownership, right? But Todd Bowley and his cronies and all the direct football sporting directors and all that, they've tried to bake a cake, right? That's what they've tried to do. They've tried to bake a cake, but they've got all the ingredients and they've just like chucked it all in at once, and they've sat back and gone, oh, that's not a very good cake, is it? It's like they've just thrown everything at it at once, and then they've said to the managers and the coaches, go on then, get on with it. And guess who'll take the fall? Not ownership, not sporting directors, not people that are out there signing players. It'll be probably another manager at some point if he doesn't turn this round.
Nedum, are the guys being harsh on Chelsea?
Yeah, maybe, but the fact is they see a lot of them and they've spoken about them for a long time, and I think as they look at them through sort of a more narrower lens, I would say. You know, they watch a lot of football from them, they see certain people underperforming, they see people seem like they're trending in the right direction and then falling off the face of the earth. So I think it's fair in terms of what they're saying from their perspective. I think bigger picture, maybe they have had positives, but as Craig was saying there with the cake analogy, you would expect it to be something else. But for me, if we're going to use that analogy, it's almost like they've got a whole mix of ingredients for all different cakes trying to make one cake make sense. Like, it doesn't really add up. I think at times you've got players who seem to be doing something good, but then the partnerships aren't there to marry up with somebody else. You know, one time it seemed like, oh, they look really good in attack, but then they look bad in defence and vice versa. It's this very, very strange situation to be in. And I said before the show as well, I'm somebody who's perhaps guilty of just believing in them just that bit too much. And that's not necessarily gone away, because I still think they'll win the second leg. But, you know, as we look at it, and I think the guys are right, it tends to be spiralling, because a few weeks ago we asked the question, would you rather be in this dressing room or in the United one, and I think most of us said this one, but as every week passes, this looks like just that little bit more bleak, I'd have to say.
So just to stay with this